bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. Like a bird on a tree.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love, and we're in Soul Talk. And today we have David Riddle, and let me tell you a little bit who he is. He's an Akashic Blueprint Integration practitioner and Reiki master teacher. His first experience with the energy healing occurred in 1997 during the healing circle. It was so transforming, he quit his corporate job the next day. Within 3 months, became a coordinator of workshops and lectures at well-known Chicago metaphysical bookstore. It was there where he received his training of Reiki and Akashic records. Even since then, he has taught numerous Reiki classes and used Akashic Blueprint integrations, thousands of healing sessions, both in a personal and remotely. If you want more of his information or how to contact him, is in the description of this video. And David, thank you so much for having you here. Thank you for accepting
Oh,
the invitation.
thank you for asking. It was a wonderful surprise when you reached out, and I was like very glad to do
Thank you, David. David, I am a true believer that there we all human beings we have different awakenings and we go into different states of conscience deeper and deeper and deeper. But we all have a beginning that make us wake up and make us realize that the reality that the life we were living, it was not how we thought it was before. And some of us started since kids, some of us when we were teenagers, some of us after something happened to us. What was your awakening, your awakening at the beginning?
Yeah, that what you just talked about, where I went to the healing circle. I had that was back in 1997, and I had never experienced anything like that in my whole entire life. And when I received the at the healing circle, I felt so clear inside that I knew the rest of my life needed to follow that, and I couldn't go back to my regular world, and that's why I quit my job the next day. Plus, I was getting all kinds of intuition too that opened up during that time. So it was like I was actually getting guided that day that I quit my job. I kept on hearing, "Don't worry, everything will be all right." So I knew that um, I would be okay. And actually, if I just felt like if I didn't, the rest of my life would just not be good, and I had to. So with that, I changed my life, changed my career. Everything fell into place. I mean, really, I was at the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and then 3 months later, I did some work in between. But 3 months later, I was running workshops at a metaphysical bookstore. I mean, that was just like the universe brought me there. There's all kinds of stories in there um, that happened in order for me to get there, and then stories that have happened ever since. So it's just been an amazing journey.
And how your family took it that you just quit your corporate job? Because
Well, for
for
one thing,
everybody, because for everybody that we have just suddenly shifted, because we're not the same people that we were. Our family noticed it, and our family went into different things. I went into a divorce.
and so did I. I was in a divorce soon after that, or at least separation. Yeah. My wife that I was married with at that time, she left within 2 weeks of me quitting my job. It was just maybe even earlier. I don't know. I mean, it was like, yeah, actually, I don't think I had even left the Chicago Board Options Exchange yet. When I quit my job, I gave them a month notice. My supervisor was a wonderful lady, is a wonderful lady, hopefully still. I haven't talked to her in ages, but she was like, David, we've got a bonus at the end of the month, at the end of June. And I was right at the beginning of June at that time. She's like, if you stay another extra 2 weeks instead of just 2 weeks, stay the 4, you get an extra paycheck. And I was just like, so I did that, and it gave me time to kind of find my way too into the metaphysical world.
And I have to ask you, why do you decide to become a Reiki master? Because there are so many techniques, there are so many options, and living in a big city that is Chicago. Uh, Here where I'm locally, there are not too many options. That's why it's easier to take classes online if you want to take something beside Reiki.
Yeah.
But in Chicago, why you chose Reiki?
Well, I chose Reiki at the beginning, but then the Akashic Records chose me. And that, let's see, it was like a year. Well, one of the things was, for one thing, where I was located, Reiki was easy to get, easy to do, and I was I mean, the money that I had been making before and what I was making currently was like, you know, there's an affordability there, and so I was able to get the Reiki classes right up to level 2 at really not much of a cost. And then I started doing my practice at the store that I worked out of. Like, we had a back room where we also had workshops, but we also had areas where the practitioners could work. So I set up my practice starting to do level 2 Reiki practitioner, because I didn't know where to go, but that was what was in front of me. But the thing was that in some of my sessions, not all of them, but quite a few of them, I would feel this energy wanting to come in during my Reiki session that was like really amazingly like beautiful and strong. And I could feel that it was really good for what my client would be. But the thing was, I wasn't able to connect with it. So I would be like, in some of these sessions, I'm like, what is that? And kind of almost looking up to the ceiling, show me what this is. And it wasn't too much longer after that Linda Howe, I don't know if you've heard of her. She does not Linda Moulton Howe, but the other one that does the Akashic Records.
You tell me about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, she was doing classes back then out of Healing Earth, where I was working. And because I was workshop coordinator, she needed some help. She said, I'll offer you this class if you can help me out during the weekend. And I ran some of the things for her during that class. And it was actually kind of more of a party time with Linda. She's a wonderful lady. So it wasn't really hard work, but I was there present for her to help. But I was able to take that class, and it was the first day you learn how to do the records for yourself. And I thought, wow, this is pretty nice. Second day, you learn how to do the records for other people. And that first time I opened the records for somebody, I could feel that energy moving into my body. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I was, this is what I was meant to do. So ever since then, I've really worked very hard at learning how to channel this energy for my clients. And I've really become an Akashic Blueprint Integration master, you want to call it. I mean, that's really, I've always been more into the Akashic work than the Reiki. The Reiki was nice. It was beautiful energy, but with the Akashic, I mean, it was just like the energy just boom, it comes in, and I could feel so much more about what was going on with my clients. And once you know that energy, plus you're connected to a higher vibration than what the Reiki is. Reiki, like, I'm not putting down the Reiki, but it's not that. It's not that. It's universal. It's white light. It's beautiful. But when I'm working with my clients, it's like all the colors of their energy come through and I get the DNA of their own vibration activated within them. So it's a whole different thing. I actually, for many years, was very uncomfortable just doing Reiki because I couldn't feel as much. When I actually started doing this work, I've almost pretty much continued with just the Akashic work. I do some Reiki, but almost always the Akashic records.
I feel, and I might be wrong in this. I am not set in stone with this. I am a Reiki master, and that's the technique that I learned about 20 years ago. But that's the one I don't practice anymore.
Yeah.
Because I felt, and tell me if this is if I'm wrong in this. When you're saying you're a healer, in a way you're telling the person that you're making the therapy that you're more powerful than them, that they can do it themselves, and and at the same time you're carrying a lot of the things that are not working, and you're not telling them how to work. You're doing the work for them. So they're gonna be needing you once a week, like a massage. They're gonna need you very often because they're not doing the work. So they're gonna be the guru in a way every time they feel whatever they're feeling. Do I see it? You see it in the same way, or you see, how do you see this when we're saying healers?
There's a lot of truth to that. There is a lot of truth to that. And I do have to agree that there are levels that, it becomes almost like a Band-Aid in a way. But, I know the work that I do carries them like further than what Reiki could do alone. But there are limitations to that. I do my best afterwards to tell them everything that I've learned that I feel would be useful for them to help with their things. Like say somebody's overloaded with energy, or let's just say they pick up energy from everybody. And doing, you can do crystals, you can do like all these meditations. But for me, like a flower essence that's very powerful is yarrow environmental solutions, or pink yarrow. And if people take drops of that, it makes it so that they're not picking up the energy around them so much. It's little simple things like that I add to it. But I also know that nowadays it's like I've kind of been more enlightened, so to speak, about these, like coming up with programs where you do these, you do these journeys with people, and then you kind of help them move into the next level. So that's the other thing. How have you rectified the situation that you feel about Reiki? If I could ask, like maybe I am doing something along that line, but I do, I do have some people that come in like on a regular basis, like once a month, but they're the ones that are, like it helps them, but I don't feel like if I fell off the face of the earth, it's not gonna, they're in a better place than when they were before they met.
How I see it, there's people that wants to heal themselves, and there's people that they just want the attention. And let me just clarify this. There are people that they do want to heal themselves, and there's some people that they learn that they can control and manipulate their families, their friends, their lovers, whatever, to whatever it is they have. So they don't want to get healed, but they're
Mm.
going to, and they sabotage themselves. So they're going to require that attention and going to the doctor and taking medication, because in reality they don't want to be healed, because they're learning how to get the energy of others through whatever illness they have or pain they have. We have, and as a healers or practitioners or coaches, or we we get the two of them. We have the people that actually they do want to do the work, and we have the people that they just want the attention. And on to one day, I'm not saying that that's set in stone, because it's not, until one day, like, okay, I really want to heal myself. I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of being with this pain. I'm tired with being this, and that's when now they're getting more clicks, and they go through all of us. And but that's how I see them in a way. And
I totally see what you're talking about, and those were the type of clients I got years ago. But those aren't the type of clients I get now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like I don't vibrate with that.
yes,
If I like I do the once a month people, but they're not like I said, they're not relying on. I know who you're talking about, and that's hard because when you carry somebody like that, and I'm not knocking it, but I know what that's like, and it's hard because they're the ones that when they walk through the door, you're like, you know, right? I don't have those. Thank goodness. There was a point where that just didn't didn't happen anymore, and it was like partly because of the way that I vibrate. And I'm not saying about where you are, but at least with the Reiki, right? You figured out another way. But for me, it was like there were those people at the very beginning, especially when I really wasn't vibing in my flow. I would get people like that would challenge me, and those were hard. But now it's not like that. It's really not. I can't even tell you what that was like. I forgot about that because that was hard. That
I
was hard.
I did remove Reiki from my practice, regular Reiki from my practice. I'm not gonna say that I don't balance, clean, or clear
Yeah.
the chakras or activate them. But I do it more in a theta level than put it in fact, my table, I give it away. I
Oh,
give
did
it
you?
away. Yes, I
Oh,
did it.
that's cool.
I refuse to do it anymore. Not like I was.
See, I love it. I love it. I love it. I wouldn't, like people that know me, are like, you're going to do it the rest of your life. Yeah, I really am, because I love the vibe of it. And I'm not, see, that's the difference between the work of Reiki and working with the Akashic Records. Um, because the people that like that can't handle the records. They're going to not, it's not going to vibe with them. But the thing is that for me and for the people that I work with, that's such a high vibration that it becomes it's like a level of like I feel like I get enlightened every time I work with my clients. There's levels of connection that I wouldn't be able to do on my own with that spiritual energy that comes through for them. And the
Can
thing about it too is once I am done, I close the records, and all the anything that's left over that was like, well, actually, most of the time it's gone anyway. But if there was anything an attachment energetically that we have, it's gone. Like I don't walk away. I can do like I did 5 sessions on Friday, hour sessions, and I was a little tired at the end of the day. But it's not like I'm working with people that um, are that are that.
I know what is Akashic Records, but for our some of our viewers that are gonna be seeing this
Oh,
video
right.
right now later on, can you
Yeah.
explain a little bit what is Akashic Records?
Well, I'll talk about what people think about the Akashic records first, and then I'll talk about my interpretation of it, because it is totally different. Because the Akashic records, you can tap into all past lives, you know, uh, possibly even future lives, and also help you connect with maybe what your purpose is in life. And the way that it's done is you do a prayer. Most people do the prayer, a prayer of some sort that allows them to connect to the lords of the Akashic records. You could also call them the lords of karma. They're the ones that are the ones that help us move through things. They're not there to hold us back. They're there to help, but we have to help ourselves. So by getting information from the Akashic records, that's where people can really move into their higher purpose and hopefully help them get rid of the things or help them release the things that are holding them back. Now, almost 100% of the people, I shouldn't say 100, but about 95% of the people that are working in the Akashic records are going to be sitting in front of or on a phone and answering questions going up to the Akashic records, like, and having a conversation and finding out, their purpose, what may have, what may be holding them back, maybe their past life. Even Linda, she's like, I work in the present life. She's like, I know other people that it just kind of happens that they go into past lives. So I took several classes with Linda Howe. And, we did, that's the only times that I really did these readings. Because for me, I feel uncomfortable going into those realms. It's just like, I feel like it's kind of, for me, I maybe if I had been a reader going into the Akashic records, it would have been different. But I went in in as a healer, just kind of exploring the Akashic records to see what it could do. So that's where we're going to go with mine, because for me, when I open the records, I embody the energy of my clients. So like they can sit there and they can tell me what's going on within their lives, or where they're holding some energy, and tell me what's going on. But then when I actually open the records, I can sense more of the flow of the energy within them, to even sense things that they didn't tell me about. So like sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, something's going on over here in the spleen area. And they'll be like, oh, I forgot to tell you that part, because I could feel it. And the other part about that is that instead of just feeling it, I'm also connecting up with this energy of their healed self, of that energy of them in this blueprint, this Akashic record realm. It's of such a high vibration. It's like it's them. That when I put my hands on them, or I do the channeling through remote, I'm able to bring that energy in for them. And that's different than what a lot of other people that are doing healing in the Akashic records do, because they're the ones that are like, generally they're going to connect up with a past life or a past part of them, or a future part of them, but they're not really into the body of the client. They're not really in there like I am. And that's the difference between me and most other healers. And I'm not saying all healers, because I do know that there's been a couple that I've run across through the years that are doing it similarly to me.
There are different ways to do it. I do more the Galactic Akashic records. I go to the point of origin, and
Hey, there you go. It's like, yeah, I forgot about that.
it is different in there, because we tend to repeat the same story. The other day I was talking with a friend that she was telling me, I was telling her that in the schools here in Texas, they're removing a lot of the story from the schools. And she was saying, what is important? Because if we don't know the story, we tend to repeat the same mistake over and over. And we've been repeating since the point of origin of wherever we were, from Sirius, Pleiades, or different planets, the same story to this day.
Yeah, I have to agree.
So if we know that part of that story, that will, at least we're gonna be conscious every time we do it. Like, oh, I've been doing this for centuries. Like, I can't change this. And so that's why it is important to know a little bit about the story, but not to focus too much into, oh, I was a slave, and so I'm gonna be a slave the rest of my life, because you're gonna get stuck.
Yeah, right. And then you're tapping into one part of that, but there might be 50 other lifetimes that something similar was going on too. Can I ask you a question about that with the Galactic?
Yeah, of course.
Are you doing readings, or are you doing healings that come out of readings, or do you do straight healings?
I am a channel. So many times, even without asking, when my client is in front, sometimes my guides tell me, "Oh, you need to check this story that it was happened. I don't know, or this in a planet Earth, or in a different constellation, or a different planet, because they've been repeating the same story." So the problem is started there, and I go there and review what happened in there, so I can bring it back if there's a block, or because I work a lot in theta level. I am a BQH, I am a hypnotherapist, also an N.L.P. So I help them reprogram their brain, so like that they can remove that block that sometimes is not even from the planet Earth. It was from the point of origin, or a war that they had in Lyria or in Pleiades or whatever. So they were needing to remove that. So like that they can bring back themselves without those blockage. So, but all the time I am being guided when I am in my sessions. So what is next? What do we need to do? Sometimes they tell me about healings that I have never heard, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna follow you guys, and I do it, and later on I find out because I ask, okay, what I just did to my client, I need to know, and later on I find the information. It's like, oh, okay, like the rods that we have, all the human beings, we have some rods that this I did not knew that the Mayas used to do it when their kids were babies, to connect them precisely those rods so we can increase our energy and be connected to all. And onto one of my clients, they tell me, you have to do this, and like, really, I don't know how to do that, just follow us. And I did it, and I felt those rods, and I felt the connection and so forth. And that's when finally, after my client left, I asked, okay, what had just happened? And they started giving me all the information and all the downloads, like, oh, I used to do it when I was living as a Maya. I used to do it to my kids, and I used to be a healer in there. So this is something not new in my being, because I've been repeating that to many people, and it was important to bring it back. But sometimes it depends on whatever the person is needing, and they're all different.
Hmm.
You know that. But how do
Yeah.
you use the blueprint in your healings?
Well, because and I want to speak to that beautiful thing that you just mentioned, because it seems like I've in almost all the classes, at least that I've learned, it's almost like it's all earthbound. It's the Akashic records. They're not going into past lives in Sirius or the Pleiades or Lyria. It's like they're more based here. So that's kind of neat. I just wanted to point that out. But the work that I do is really like like you, Monica. You have your own blueprint of you being Monica, and that means whatever you know karma maybe is part of that, but I don't even look at that. I look at the structure of the body, of the energy of you as being Monica. So it's not like you in a past life. It's not you in a anywhere else. It's just your structure and your energy flow in this lifetime. So what I'm doing is I'm really helping people when they go through life and they have certain blocks or certain issues that they've been working on, maybe even since the womb, since they came into this structure. And what I'm doing is helping alleviate the blocks, the energy that might be holding them back in certain areas, and reviving places that haven't been touched energetically for a long time. So that's why my clients have a tendency to really boost themselves up for quite a period of time with the work that I do, because it's really them getting back to themselves. So like if I was to do just Reiki, that's not getting down into the structure. It's getting down into the energy field, but it's not getting down into their makeup. And what I'm doing is bringing their makeup back into them. And it's such a big difference than the other. I mean, even the work that you do, we're different, and you're connecting on other levels, but you're not down in the nitty gritty energy of the client. So when I'm
Oh,
doing
yes.
when I what's that?
Oh, yes, I am. All the time. I could not do my work if I don't connect with the client first.
Well, I don't mean by that. I mean, and I don't. Maybe I said that in the wrong way, but I feel like the work that you do is connecting to a lot of the problems that cause whatever they have going on in this plane, where what I'm doing is kind of more down in this plane, trying to correct the things that happened to them while they were on this plane. Like I don't go elsewhere.
I can say this to everybody that is listening right now. David did a healing for me. I wanted to feel how is his the blueprint actually what he's talking right now about. And since I broke my foot, I've been in pain with my ankles, and this been about a month, and it's just hard to walk, and and he did that healing, and now I'm walking without pain. That
Oh
I can
wow.
say. Yes, thank you,
That's
David.
the nitty gritty. Yeah. I mean, I remember talking to you about when it happened, and it was like the day after you said you didn't have any pain, and I'm really glad that it never came back. And that's the beauty of of the work that that gets down in there, and there's beauty to your work too. Don't I'm not saying, but what I do is very unique, and it's not you're not going to get that out of just doing Reiki. I mean that's because and if I could share a little bit about that, remember, part of that was bringing you into the earth because your feet were holding too much of the energy, and it wasn't the earth wasn't. So all this wonderful work that you do out there, you
Yeah,
know,
the grounding part, even it doesn't matter who we are, we forget to ground a lot of the times. And
well, luckily I've learned a lot about the electromagnetic energy. But part of that is surrounding myself with Lemurian crystals that help me feel that energy.
yes, we tend to do that. I tend to do that. I forget once in a while when I'm feeling it, like, oh, I need to walk in the grass. And
So,
yes,
so, so you get the idea of the work that I do, though. With that, it is really body centered, and it's emotional centered, and it's mentally centered. So it's a lot of the things that can interfere with us on this plane, and I try to just keep them on the earth. Make sure that, like, my process is when I open the records, I can feel how the energy is lined up in their body, and gives me a sense of what's right and what's wrong, or whatever the judgment is on that, like how the energy is flowing. And the only purpose that I have in any of my sessions is to get that flow of energy going right in their body. So if somebody doesn't have their energy right, then they're not going to heal properly. So that's like 100% of my sessions is all about getting people into their flow.
and are you a channeler, David?
I channel the energy of the body.
Oh, the
I
guy.
channel it in a different way because I'm feeling it. We are all empathetic on some levels, like
But
being able to feel.
you're not receiving the channel messages from your guides or from your higher self.
Well, I do get um, I do get guided throughout any session. Let's just put it that way. I don't get told what to do. There's nobody knocking on my thing and whispering in my ear telling me what to do. But what I do have is within myself, I just know where to go and what happens, how to do it. And part of that is because the communication between me and the guides and lords of the Akashic records is so strong that it's not with words. Um, but my clients, though, they can feel the presence of the other ones that are there sometimes. They'll, like, sometimes they can feel like I'm at their feet, that somebody's at their head. I've recently had one where her father keeps on showing up because she's from India and it smells like India, to her. There's a there's a certain thing that happens. Her guide is her father now. So it becomes like I am a channel, but there's different levels of what a channel is. And my channel is not through the throat, it's through the vibrational energy that comes through for my clients. That's all channeled.
How do you? Well, Catherine is saying, David. It sounds from listening to you and your work. with the skills of the kinestology and using the Akashic records as the computer as they're talking to the solve the puzzle of the person you're helping. This sounds right.
Can you repeat that?
She's Catherine is saying that if you're working is like kinestology and using the Akashic records as a computer to talk as a computer they're talking to you to solve the puzzle of the person that you're helping.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't say computer though. I would say living vibration more than that. But it is very kinesthetic. It's very feeling oriented. Um, the sense of energy that I have that's flowing through me allows me to sense not only when I'm opening up the records and feeling it, but when I put my hands on it or above or channeling to the clients that I'm working remotely, I can feel what the block is, and sometimes I can see what it is too. So there's like little hints that I get. So there's so much that really happens in every session. That's one of the things that I've really been doing over the years. It's just kind of almost like fine tuning it to where there is no two sessions that are alike because they can't be. It's even the clients that I've worked with over the years. It's like they're every time they come in, it's always going to be something different. They might have some of the same similar things, but the way that I approach it is going to be a sensation of what I feel inside of me in order to move them through whatever they're working.
How do you feel right now with the Lionsgate? Yesterday that it was the big portal.
Oh my goodness, it was great. I starting Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, I must have done about 8 or 9, maybe 10 meditations through this time, and it's been spectacular. And I was actually like, I had today, this morning, to revive from it because yesterday was just such a big day. Um, there was so much going on, and I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. The energy was so crazy. It was cloudy here in Chicago, and there's a new moon, and the sky was bright. It made no sense.
Yes, it was weird. I went outside and it was I can see the like an eclipse in the full moon. And obviously there was not an eclipse. It was a full moon. So it was I don't know, it was
It was a
weird.
new moon. It was a new moon.
But
Yeah,
it was a full moon.
no, it was a new moon.
Hmm.
The sun and the moon were in Leo.
Yes, they were in Leo. That part
Yeah,
that's why
it's,
it's
so it's
called the
so it's
Lion Gate.
so they're conjunct. It's a new moon. I don't mean to, but but
Yes.
but the sun and the moon were. That was the beauty of it, was that they were both coming up on the sunrise on at at the Lionsgate.
I like I told you when we started this conversation that what I did time jumping. I've been time jumping a lot. So I don't know.
Right.
For me, I saw a full moon with an eclipse, and for a while, and I was like, okay, where I am or what is going on. This happens to me when I start jumping and jumping and jumping,
Wow.
and I don't know. This is what I saw. This is what I saw.
That's cool. No, I can't argue with that because I have found with us moving into this 3D, from the 3D 5D thing, the world, it's just like sometimes it's just crumbling. This is the other thing too. As I was right behind me here is the window, and I was here early at sunrise, and I did my first sun. Like I kept on hearing, do sun gazing, where you look at the sun in the morning, and it's supposed to like. It was so cool. The colors of the sun were changing, and it was just like I saw all these purples and reds, the vibration, and then I could see the sun, like it, behind the clouds, circular. It was just really so cool. I can't even describe it. I'm just excited about it. It was so fun. It was such a big day. I'm so glad I did that. And I'm glad that this was the other thing is how many things there were. Um, you have to check out my post that I wrote about the Lionsgate because I did a Lionsgate last year, and it brought me to Star Sirius, onto the planet.
Yep.
I don't want to, take up the time here and do that, but it's a post. But the beauty of it was that this year's correlated with last year's, and it became part two. I got a big revelation in it. So tell me what you think about it when you read that post. It's really actually quite good. And anybody else, feel free to connect with me on Facebook, and I put my posts both in the chi balancing and in my own personal thing because it was very powerful. I mean, I actually experienced my uh, one of my previous lives as a star being at Star Sirius. It was pretty cool.
Catherine is saying again, the energy of the sun currently seeking the partner sun. The two suns are full galaxies seeking to move into a harmony together. Yeah, yes, I can feel that. It is a very strong energy and so clearing energy of the Lionsgate is every year since I am aware and conscious. It's just been magical. It's just been magical.
Absolutely.
Okay, David, are you teaching classes right now?
I've been doing individual Reiki classes online. So if anybody is interested, I actually that was so cool. I never really thought that I would ever do a class online with Reiki with the attunements. But as one of my clients pointed out, if you can do Reiki, why can't you do the attunements too? So it's turned out that my clients, that my students that I've done online or through the Zoom, have really gotten a lot out of it. The only problem I don't like about it is that it's a little harder to maintain. Like, I don't know, level two is one where you're really working with other people. So I've moved it more to working remotely and then giving the instructions on how to work on other people instead of doing it as a classroom. Because even as a classroom these days, it's like some people are a little nervous about the closeness. So I've just kept it online lately. I did actually do an individual Reiki class here a couple weeks ago in my studio, but it's just one person. It's like that's the problem with now. Um,
Yes, it is.
events are kind of
Yeah, it is hard to get people right now in person. There is many things that is happening in the background. Let's put it like that. That
well
it
this
looks like we're gonna still be needing to adapt to the technology. That we thought that okay, now we can go out and we can do it. Like no, I believe it's gonna take us more time than we thought. For some reason, they wanna still keep us into ourselves. not
well I've got
not.
my reasons for that, but there's a
But
lot of us that know what's really going on.
the thing is, everything is created by source. Everything, nothing happened by casualty. Nothing. And this is happening to the world still. It doesn't matter if there's agendas or not agendas. Nothing is casualty. So, and more that I noticed that we were going into the lockdown, we didn't have a choice except for going inside of us because we could not go outside, and this is continue going. And yes, many people have awake since 2020. Many people have these transitions tremendously, and yeah, more people are gonna go there. And we are forced to in a way because if not, we have
Right.
too many distractions outside of us.
Well, I don't know if you know about the how I'm sure you feel it. The energy of the earth has changed
Yes.
in that time. Right now we don't have the distractions so much by being out there and having these events. But I think we would have changed anyways because there have been a lot of things that have happened to increase the energy of this earth. Besides the astrological stuff, you've got like the people down in the Aborigines down in Australia that did a uh, they did a ritual on their sacred mountain. I forgot the name of it. It's really cool, and part of it is that the energy of the earth heartbeat was located in there, and supposedly there's other forces that haven't been that good for us for many centuries or many thousands of years. It basically tied the energy up in that area, so that that heartbeat couldn't beat properly. Now there was a ceremony that was done on the 21st of December, and part of that was to loosen that up. And the thing is that the Aborigines had that
Kath-
as a program.
Catherine is in Australia. She says it's Uluru.
Uluru, yes, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And
She's
and
in
the thing
Australia.
is that Uluru, and it's very cool looking. And the thing about it is that the Aborigines supposedly had known at the same time that the conjunction happened during the solstice of last year was the date that the new Earth was going to be born. And so they did the ceremony around that. And the energy of the Earth has increased so much. And then there was a ceremony that happened somewhere in the Isles of Britain, and I don't know the name of this one, but I heard about it. It was on the equinox where they did something similar. So there's all these things that are going on right now that are underneath these lockdowns that are just, you know how it is, Monica. It's energy first, and the energy here, it's amazing now. It's amazing where before it was it was oppressive, and I know the difference, and I can feel it. So I know
Yeah.
that we're on a good path.
Yes, I'm so glad that actually the humanity were chosen as a collective, the good path, the path of love and cooperation and light. And that is important that the collective, we all choose the same path.
Yes,
That is very
yeah.
important.
And this Lionsgate was another one too. So many people got involved with this one. I've never seen it like that. The collective has woken up. Hello, we're here.
Yes. David, we talked about that you wanted to do a healing of at least 5 minutes, guys, and
Yeah,
he would like to share with us one of the healings that he do, and it's for 5 minutes, and
yeah, just for 5 minutes. And what I will do, I'm going to take off my headphones and put them over by my music box, and because it sounded like you weren't able to hear it unless I did that. But I'm going to do a prayer to connect up to the Akashic records as a collective. So I won't be really opening up anybody's records here, but I'll be opening up as a group, which is, it's not as personal, and anyone that doesn't agree, they don't have to watch from now on. So, but if you want to experience this, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the records, and then I will do some energy work, and hopefully, you'll get a lot out of it. So, okay.
let me put you in. Yes.
like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together.
Okay. Hello.
There
Yeah, I
we are.
went ahead and I closed the records and everything.
Thank you. I can feel it. I felt
All
it
right.
in my heart.
Oh,
I hope you
beautiful.
guys enjoy it. And I really thank you for that, David. And I thank everybody for being here, for all your comments. And if you want to find David, you can find it. The information is in the description. So you can contact him and add him in Facebook too and check his
Yes.
page. So, um, and thank you, David, for that. Thank you for being here with us in Soul Talk. And let me tell to everybody what we're going to have the next week. The next week, and in the Heart of the Artist podcast, we're going to have Jason Ray Perez. He's an artist and curator, a visual artist and curator. And in the next Soul Talk, in the next Monday, we're going to have a Christy Bradbury. She's a master confidence coach. And that is on Sunday at 6 p.m. And Soul Talk is Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time. And also to announce that I have 5 spaces available for my coaching system, Path to the Heart. And And in there, you can also have, in the coaching, you can have the option for the channeling classes and certification. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you
Thank you,
for,
Monica. Oh, this was great. Thank you so much. It was really nice to be able to talk to you and communicate with such a wonderful healer such as yourself and Chandler. So
thank
thank
you.
you for this opportunity. It was really nice.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together